Welcome, everyone, to the groundbreaking ceremonies for Westwood's new police headquarters building. 25 years ago, I was told by the newly hired Bob Haas, just up from New Jersey, that the current police station was inadequate in size and functional space to effectively run a modern police service for 15,000 residents. But he committed himself to diligently work to make improvements to make it work. 12 years later, he was replaced by Bill Chase, and he told me that he had overseen the construction of a police station in Harvard, and that he was hoping that he would be able to provide the same service during his tenure with the Westwood Police Department. Unfortunately for Bob and Bill, the time of their service just wasn't the right time to make that financial commitment. But I am happy to thank them both for having joined us in educating the Westwood community at this time that when we have the money and the financial wherewithal to make the commitment, that it was and has been a necessary investment. Bob sent his regrets and is not able to join us here today, but Bill Chase is here to celebrate. We have organized a fitting list of speakers to announce the start of construction on a building that will play an important role in Westwood's foreseeable future. Selectman Hyde, who has served as chairman and spokesperson for the Public Safety Task Force for the past 3 years, will be our first speaker. Having witnessed her dedication to this effort, it is fitting and proper that she lead things off. Chief Jeff Silver will then speak on behalf of Bob, Bill, the current and past Westwood police officers and members of the police force, in acknowledging how important this building will be for the staff in providing service to the residents and businesses that we serve. And finally, we are pleased that both our state legislative delegation, Michael Rush, who has served us quite capably these past 6 years in the Senate, and Paul McMurtry, who has served us as our state representative for the last 9 years, and during that time has become an increasingly participant in these events. Both will give kind words on this momentous occasion. And then we'll do the groundbreaking and take pictures. So at this time, I'd like to turn things over to Nancy Hyde.
Thank you, Mike. Good morning, everybody, and I'd like to recognize Senator Rush and Representative McMurtry. Thank you for joining us. I understand the budget session didn't go too late tonight, so good that you're here. I want to thank everybody for coming out this morning, and I'm speaking to you really on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, Michael Walsh, John Hickey, and the immediate past selectmen, Pat Ahern, who together, all of us have been looking at this and hoping for this, and we're here to celebrate today with all of you. This is a day that many of us, as Mike has said, have been looking forward to for a long time, some of us longer than others. Chief Chase, you know that well. But we're really happy to be here today. And there are a lot of people who have contributed to getting us to this point, and I want to acknowledge them. And for anybody I haven't included, I apologize, but I'm trying to get the comprehensive list together. From Compass Project Management, with the leadership of Tim Bonfatti, his colleagues Brian Jarvis, Lorene Westman, Christy Murphy, and Stephen Devine, thank you. To Doran Whittier, Don Walter, Rick Almeida, Sarah Culver, and CNR Architecture and Design, Zach Zettler. Thank you for your patience with us. We really appreciate it. GNR Construction, I haven't met you yet, but good morning. We have Bob Morell, Gil Morell, Dan Aylward, Eric Swenson, and their team who are going to make this dream become a reality. And then there are a few other very important people I want to call out. Chief Silva, your dedication has been amazing. Nora Loughnane, Mike Gillette, Fire Chief Bill Scoble, Deputy Fire Chief Mike Reardon, and my fellow volunteers in the community, Chris Paff, Al Wizialko, Maureen Blade, and George Hertz. The people I just mentioned, along with staff, were part of the task force, and we've been together for 3 years. We started in July of 2014, began with the fire station project as a priority, but in looking at that, we were also looking at the police station. And as many of you know, we had the successful vote last May 2015 to do the fire station, which we look forward to having as part of our operational inventory later this year or the very beginning of next year. And that is looking tremendous. We're really excited about that. And then our work rolled into the police station. And for the past year and a half, we've been dedicated to determining the best police station we can create, an attractive facility, and as I have been often saying, something that's going to be with us for several decades. And I thought about it. Here we are in 2016, and if we're building a fire station as we are for the next 75 years, this fire station is going to serve the town for the 21st century. And it's something we should all be extremely proud of, that on this day, we're marking this huge event to build a building that is going to serve the community long after we're all gone. But the same wonderful community is going to be here, and this building will serve them very well. I want to take a few more moments to just talk about Chief Silva. He joined us 3 years ago. We had a successful term with Bill Chase and an interim chief, and Jeff came in at the time when the town was actually prepared to undertake building these new facilities. And we had the good fortune of revenue coming in from University Station. So the timing was such that with Jeff's leadership and the town being poised to do this, we were able to move this forward. And I know Jeff has the support of the people of his force. We had officers at some of our presentations, and I think that just showed the community nature of our police department and how important they are within the community. And so I want to thank you, Jeff, for your leadership throughout all this. Your flexibility. We didn't have, the right answer right away. We had to move the space around and make sure we were efficient, and that's where I'd say Durham Whittier was extremely patient. But throughout, we were sure that we were going to come up with the best building possible. I hope all of you take a moment to look at the designs for those of you who aren't familiar with it, although I know most people here are. It's going to be a gorgeous building. It's going to be a large building. It's going to take us all some time to get used to once it's actually up in there. But then once we know and become familiar with it, we're going to be very comfortable. So I'm going to close with this, that being here today, we're already a month ahead of schedule, and we're on budget. So how's that? That's a great way to start. Thank you. I'd like to ask Chief Silva to come up and say a few words.
Good morning. Thank you very much for being here. I never thought this day would happen. Some days and other days, I knew it was just a matter of time. I had the pleasure of speaking with Chief Chase before the ceremony, and he came in with his wife to offer some congratulations. And I'll tell you now what I told him, that largely the congratulations go to everyone out in the audience, including Chief Chase and Chief Haas in this community. If you pardon the football analogy, I just happened to be in the end zone to catch the ball. And so while I appreciate the very gracious remarks about the work that I put into this has been a long time coming. Don't sit there and think by any means that this is a project that has gone ignored. This is a project that has been unmentioned. This is a project that has not been worked on, not just for years, but for decades. But the time wasn't right. And here in Westwood, you know that things are done a certain way, the Westwood way. They're well thought out. They're well researched. They're community inclusive. It's one of the reasons that drove me to aspire to be the chief of this community. And this project was done the same way. So while the station wasn't built when it could have been, I'd submit to you that the station is being built when it should have been, when it's the right time. And so it's a very exciting time for all of us. When this building was built, back in the late 1960s, as you've heard me say before, there's been a lot of changes. Gas was 33 cents a gallon. The police department responded to only maybe 5,000 or 6,000 calls for service per year. Gas, we know, is no longer 33 cents a gallon, and last year we responded to 26,000 calls for service. And so when you think about what's happened to the gas price, and when you think of what's happened to the service demands, not just in Westwood, but all around, you know that there's been a few changes. One thing that hasn't changed here in Westwood is our commitment to service. And so while you see it in the town motto, if you happen to look at the seal, while you see it on the cruisers, when we changed the graphics a few years ago behind us, you also see it every time you deal with a police officer. That's not just rhetoric, that's reality. And so you don't have to look any further than members of this agency, past and present, some like William Sheehan, who offered his life in service of this community. Others, like your friends and neighbors that you see off to the right and in the crowd. I see Lieutenant Hoban out there, Officer Dan Fafara, Officer Tim Foley, Officer Catherine McCarran, Sergeant George Dare, all in and among the crowd. We have other people, Dispatch Supervisor John Chisholm, that are in and through the ceremony, but they don't have the luxury, like all of us don't have the luxury, to sit necessarily and listen. Why? Because they're out keeping this community safe. And this is a building that, with that commitment to service, allows us to continue the service that we've always done into the present. And that call that Officer McCarran is answering right now is not rigged. That's reality. And so when I talk about officers having to go off and do what they do, there's a perfect example of it. We could not have accomplished this without your support. I know Nancy mentioned some officials past and present. Although they're not here, they're certainly here in spirit. I'd also add to that, Mary Beth Bernard was also a member of our task force, our former Human Resources Director. She's now moved on to another position. With all due respect to that, I wouldn't call it greener pastures, but I'd call it other pastures. But certainly, I don't want her to go unmentioned as well. And I just want to tell you that the ability to come here and police in a community like Westwood is a gift, and it's a privilege. When I was at my swearing in, one of the things I mentioned, in fact, I think I concluded with it, was that although there are a lot of books about policing and community service and things of that nature, really you could take all of those and put them into categories of three types of people. And those were the people that talked about making things happen. Those were people that actually made things happen. And then there were those people left wondering what happened. I told you that I was ready to make things happen, and I was excited to go to work. And so I think, not just for me, but for everyone that I've already mentioned, for this community, for all the officers here that I have the privilege to work with, this is a great example of making things happen. So I just want to congratulate the community and thank them personally for their support and say welcome home. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce Senator Michael Rush.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning. It's a privilege and honor to be with you this morning here in Westwood on this momentous occasion. I want to thank the Chief and all the police women and men who work tirelessly each and every day here in this community to keep it safe and make sure that the citizens feel safe and are protected. Thank you so much for what you do each and every day. I want to thank Mike Gillette for his vision and hard work. I want to thank my fellow elected officials. Selectman Hyde, thank you for all that you do chairing the Board of Selectmen, Selectman Walsh and Selectman Hickey for representing the interests of the people in this community, our clerk, Dottie Powers, and all those who serve in a capacity to make a difference. This building, this groundbreaking, this speaks volumes to you as citizens and you as a community, especially as we get ready to celebrate Independence Day and realize the vital link that our police play each and every day, keeping communities and our Commonwealth and our nation safe and protect those things that we celebrate independence for. So I get the privilege each and every day to go to the State House and work with your outstanding State Representative, Paul McMurtry, and we work together. And nothing makes us more proud than to partner with local governments, local elected officials, to work on your behalf in Beacon Hill. And we are so proud when we talk to our colleagues and tell them that towns like Westwood are the epitome of outstanding towns because they're forward-thinking. And this police station is exactly that. It's a way that this town, time and time again, looks forward and looks out for the very best interests of the citizens who live here. Thank you for having us to this great occasion, and happy Independence Day to one and all. Thank you. And now it is my great privilege to introduce our outstanding state representative, my good friend and friend to each and every one of you, Representative Paul McMurtry.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Senator Rush. Good morning. I'm so pleased to be here at yet another momentous occasion in the town of Westwood. I'm happy to join our police commissioners, Selectman Hickey, Selectman Walsh, and Selectman Hyde, along with Police Chief Silva, members of the department, as we mark this very momentous occasion that's symbolic to this wonderful community of Westwood. Soon to be within the confines of this property will be a building that epitomizes safety and efficiency for those who work there, but also for those who enter. And it's important that we make sure that we thank those on the town meeting who brought this to reality, and thank this community, and thank the police officers who every day serve and protect us. This building will be yet another example of great public pride to the town of Westwood, and symbolic. So again, congratulations on this momentous occasion. I'm pleased to join my partner at the State House, Senator Rush, and we offer to each and every one of you residents and those who visit this community our continued support for your endeavors. Congratulations to the chief, but most especially congratulations to the citizens for delivering yet another example of community pride. And I want to now bring back to the podium your able and capable town manager, Mike Gillette.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for those wonderful words, everyone. Before we get on to the actual breaking of ground here, I'd like to give a thanks and shout out to a few people. Catherine McDonough and James McCarthy for organizing and setting up the event. J&R for providing the refreshments, the hats, and the shovels. And the Public Works for making and filling this box so we could actually break some ground. So thanks everyone that put that together, and we'll now move on to the next part of the ceremony, which is to take some pictures of people shoveling dirt.